What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Michelle and Casey. So, you know what that means. We are discussing some Walking Dead stuff after an extended hiatus. Hello, Summer.
Hello, Summer.
Hello.
I know. So, we are discussing Dead City Season 2, Episode 1. And I think Michelle and I started the conversation without you, Casey, before we started recording. Michelle, what was the first thing you said? You were asking about who certain
I was just
characters.
asked who certain characters was because while watching, I missed their names. So I
And
need to make sure I had their names
she
for the
was like, that person
discussion.
gotta die.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't. I don't like her attitude.
Okay. So let's jump into it. We pick up in the show about a year after the events from the season 1 finale, at least going by what Negan says. Negan is here, he's locked up, been locked up, and apparently it's because the Dama wants him to do some things and he's refusing to do it. Basically, they're trying to turn him back into the old Negan. He's like, no. So he's been locked up. We're gonna come back to that because I got some things to say about that. Um, I don't know. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the kind of sort of good stuff first, or do we want to just
You know what
start?
I want to talk about? I'm sorry.
Come on, come on, come on. Let's go.
These kids get on my nerves already. They starting off. I'm like,
Yeah.
if Herschel don't get over whatever he holding on to, that bad.
Well, you know what? Okay, so I'm
Even
gonna say
as a
this about
teenager,
Herschel.
he need a whooping.
I'm
so over his
Jenny
teenage
is the
angst,
one that needs the
but
whooping.
Yeah, she does.
Jenny need a beat down.
Jenny
need
needs
more
the
than a
does.
whooping.
whooping.
But before we get into her, let me go back to Herschel, because when we see them at the beginning of the episode, you see that Herschel and Maggie, they seem to be on better terms. That, you know,
Yeah.
it seems like they've kind of, crossed that bridge and they're kind of whatever. And he doesn't start getting funky until she sees Negan's hat in the closet and she picks it up. And then you can kind of see his attitude change. And then she kind of turns it around with that whole story about the fireflies and the flashlight.
Hmm.
So I think if you think about Herschel's conversation with her in the last season after he got rescued, he told her that it seems like she was so obsessed with Negan that she didn't really see him. And so I'm assuming once Negan got, they left him in New York, they came back, that little threat is not out there. And I'm not saying that Negan is a threat, but that reminder is not just walking around free. Like, you know where he is, you know that he is not anywhere near you. So she has a chance to kind of relax. And in that, she can pay more attention to her son because she's not worried about whether or not she's going to see him around every corner. So I kind of sort of get his irritation because when she volunteers to go to New York, well, voluntold, I guess, and all of this stuff. He's like, why does it have to be you? Why does it always have to be you? And I get Maggie's, her point of view. She's trying to make it so nobody else has to go. But I can
But
understand from him too.
I
Like,
understand. I understand.
so I wasn't too bothered by Herschel's attitude because he was like, okay, I'm just not getting my mom back the way I need her. And now here she goes traipsing off to New York again, where Negan just happens to be. And even though it's not necessarily connected to him, especially, he's still a child. He's still probably 14, 15 in this. It probably feels that way. I get it. I don't fault him. Jenny, on the other hand,
I'm so irritated. You know what? She is ungrateful
very
as
much so.
hell. Ungrateful, just entitled, just baby. Well, all the audacity that her little 13-year-old self can handle, however old she is,
Yeah.
can handle.
Yeah.
Because you don't see when somebody's trying to make sure you're okay. You
That
don't
part.
see when somebody, because baby, if she is willing to take the sacrifice for you so you don't have to, what's your point? Negan already told you he killed your daddy. You think he lied?
I still think he lied about that, but
I mean, I do think he lied, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? As a 13-year-old, You hear this man has killed your daddy, and that's the reason he letting you follow him around. Right. But now he to release you, he letting you know what happened. What you gonna go back to kill him? Like
right. And then the person that is taking care of you, you're mad at her because he's not there anymore. Like, girl, but you don't get over yourself.
That part, but I get the part that I understand. I get Jenny didn't meet Savior Negan. Mm-hmm. So she don't know the whole backstory, like with Maggie and the things. Mm-hmm. So that part I get. But once you realize that no matter what has happened between them two, she's trying to make sure you're okay. I told him I would take care of you. I told him I would make sure you're all right.
But we already know teenagers just think about themselves.
And I guess in the zombie apocalypse,
it don't change.
No difference.
It doesn't. They don't know how to make any connections. It's all about them and their feelings and right now. Right now.
Because when I say she was getting on my nerves, when they had the little quote unquote assessment, and Maggie was like, "No, you're not going in there. Don't make me tell you again." And then she rushes in there anyway. And then Maggie still has to save your ass. Like, what did you just accomplish?
What did we get?
You could have got Maggie killed because of what you did.
She's trying to make sure you're okay.
Because obviously these new Babylon people don't give a fuck about you.
They don't.
They don't give a fuck about the kids, as long as they can fight.
Right. It's like, we didn't say kids. So what? Kids can't fight?
And that's why I say that she need to be bitten.
Both of them do. Both of those leaders in the new Babylon. Because when I say, from the moment Charlie Bird opened her mouth, I was like, oh, I ain't gonna like this bitch. And then the other one. Okay, so we already.
Okay, I'm sorry. Pause. Who is Charlie Bird? Which one is she?
Charlie Bird is she's the leader. She's the one with the cowboy hat.
The black lady.
Yes. The Orange is the New Black.
You know Casey didn't watch that.
No, I did watch Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
I only watched 2 seasons of it. Oh, but I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. She's the main, you know, that she was one of the main ladies.
Okay, that's Charlie.
Mm-hmm. She's the one that's in charge. And then the other black lady, the light skin with the short hair, what she said, Captain, I can't remember her last name, but she a bitch too. I don't like her either. But you know what? We knew New Babylon was trash from the very first episode of the first season when they did what they did to Michelle Hurd's character. We knew they were garbage.
Yeah.
We knew they were garbage. We knew they were garbage when Pearlie was talking about the punishment they did for that dude. What was it? They split him down the middle with a saw. We knew they were garbage. So the way that they're coming in and they're first of all, they're dragging somebody behind a car so that they can publicly execute him. And what was his crime? He didn't want to go into the army. But you have that. And then you have the whole thing. Oh yeah, we're part of New Babylon. You guys signed an agreement. And Maggie was like, y'all forced us to. And we in our charter, we can conscript you and stuff. I said, it's the same thing. We've had this discussion before. When the world falls apart, why the fuck are y'all going back to the same rules, to the same systems of aggression and oppression that made the world fucked up in the first place? I just don't understand. And yes, I know I'm cussing a lot. I said I was going to try and stop cussing, but it ain't going to be in this episode, I can guarantee. Because when they started saying all of this stuff, and then Pearlie comes to talk to Maggie, first of all, Pearlie, I still don't like him. I don't like him even more now, because now you got yourself a position because you done lied about what you did to Negan. And then you want to come and tell Maggie, oh yeah, I'm conscripting you because I think you'll be an asset. What? If it wasn't for this woman and Negan, you will be dead. You will be walker food.
And then my whole thought was, what's going to happen when they get to New York and see Negan?
Right.
But they're
going to.
Of course they're going to. It's because
Which you're
especially
going to.
the role that they have Negan playing. Of course they're going to.
Absolutely, 1000% going to. And then what he gonna say then? Oh, well, see what happened was, yeah, no, they're gonna kill him. He gonna be dragged behind a goddamn carriage next.
Right.
But you know, this is the one thing I don't get. Like, I get that it's the world of The Walking Dead. I get it. But the one thing that I don't get and I just don't understand is, why do you have to do everything with hostility? Because the way that they're making the methane, kind of even going back to fear, the way that they're making the gas, that they were making gas, same way they're making this methane. Why don't you just ask for help? Show us how to do it.
Like, right. They're not hurting anybody.
Walkers are everywhere.
That is correct.
Not like, you know, I can't, you know, kind of what Alexandria did when they were trying to help the other community. Let us help you rather than us infighting. Because fighting, we just gonna lose people. People are a resource that we about to lose because we want to start a war and try to take something where you could just come over here and, hey, can you show me how to do this?
Right, because if you take the methane,
I can go somewhere else.
If you take the methane from them, who gonna lift those bodies into that tank? Because I'm gonna tell you now, I ain't enough money in the world, ain't enough security in the world to make me do what they were doing at the beginning of this episode. Absolutely not. But the other thing is, here we go again. We saw it with like the governor. You see it with all the other villains we've had. How you gonna call yourself an army and go take what somebody else developed? Like you said, ask for help. Show us how to do this. But you can't do that because y'all are in the mainland. Y'all are not cut off. So y'all don't have the access to the walkers like that unless you go follow a herd. And I mean, we're 20 years in now. The herds are few and far between. So Manhattan is perfect for you. You got 1 million, maybe 2 million souls on that island. Guess what? We can share. We can do some stuff. Oh, y'all growing corn. Y'all growing food. Well, not growing it too much because of the moss, but y'all growing fresh food. We have gas. Let's help each other. Why does it have to be? And that's the one thing I hate. Because people always ask why, like, how can society fall? Because of shit like that. Because when things get rough, y'all don't know to sit here and be like, oh, let's work together to kind of build things back up. You talking all this talk about wanting to bring Manhattan back. But the way you want to do it is you want to go take it from somebody else. What is New Babylon going to do with these million walkers?
And then this is my other thought. Once you take it over, you've gotten rid of the people who know how to run it.
So what do you do?
What did you win?
Right.
When you could have just asked for fucking help.
Right.
But we logical, clearly.
I mean, maybe we will lose some brain cells if a zombie apocalypse happened, and you know, but again, 20 years down the road, maybe they're just not thinking like they do. Just like we mess with Daryl about, you don't know to knock on a building, like you got so lax, but
he was on vacation. Okay, we're gonna leave him alone about that. Talk about that.
But I mean, it's the same thing. Like,
but that is why my name is why.
I didn't even change my name, but
it's why.
Yes, right. Because,
but I know why.
Because we had to come up. Stupid.
No, let's dig a little deeper. We had to come up with a season 2.
And I get that.
So you know,
I get that.
Which now you wrote it in a way that is kind of stupid because you should have just sit a spy in to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to take over.
But no,
and get your people killed.
That's not human nature, because why am I going to sit here and work hard to learn how to do when I can just take what you have? I mean, it's human nature.
But that is why we also have spies. Use spies.
Yeah.
We have spies.
They
Whisper
have
is
spies.
the-
That's how they found out about Annie and Joshua. Which
So use the spies.
right.
Because you're not capable of running New York City. So let's just come on.
Right.
Come on.
Because
All these people is
obviously,
why. The motivation is why. The only people that make sense are the kids because they're acting dumb. But they
which is what
kids.
they supposed to do as teenagers.
Right.
Texting. Right.
Right.
Right. And I mean, okay, I will say this. I don't have a problem with the things that Maggie did in this episode because Maggie was like, okay, look, I'm not about to let you take my people because they already don't have a lot there. So I get it. She's in protector mode. You know, when Negan had the conversation with the guy in his jail cell, when he had the conversation with the Croat, and the Croat was like, oh, so you're not going to cooperate? We can go get your little friend. He was like, yeah, I want to see you try. Did you hear him? He had mad respect for Maggie. He was like, yeah, you go and try and touch that boy. He was like, and she will tear your throat out with her teeth right after she guts you with her knife. I said, and he ain't never lied.
No.
Did you see what she did to
the
get
that
there
she
in the
had to go
first
through
place?
for that boy?
Right.
So I'm okay with Maggie this episode.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with Maggie. Okay, here's my other question I have. Why is the Dama in charge? What does she offer that makes it so that Negan didn't run Lucille upside her head the moment he had the chance? Because when you're bringing him to the table and you're talking about these other groups and how you want to try to, form an alliance, and you're like, my methods are no longer working. They're not responding to me. Well, bitch, why are you in charge? How are you in charge?
That's why she went to go find Negan, because she knew she wasn't. She was losing control. That was
Negan been sitting in a jail cell chilling, eating real cockroaches while she been doing that. Y'all know those real cockroaches he was eating.
Yes.
But so I'm like, I'm so confused by this whole power dynamic because one, you an old lady, and granted, maybe you got some skills, maybe you can throw hands, maybe. I don't get it.
I don't either.
And the minute Negan had Lucille 2.0 in his hand, and the minute he saw what Lucille 2.0 could do, y'all want to see the old Negan?
Right, because at this point he gonna see the levels of leadership and be like, okay, this is easy.
Yeah. Right.
I don't even have to go back to my old self, really. I can just do
it. Because y'all kind of dumb. Y'all are kind of dumb. Y'all are not used to dealing with somebody on Negan's level, which is crazy because y'all got all these different little gangs. Y'all got the black chicks with the
you got that right, bitch.
with the hood looking all mysterious, but y'all let Negan come into this church with his corny little monologue, and I was like, he's probably being corny on purpose because he don't want to be there. The only reason why Negan is there is y'all brought Annie and Joshua into it, and I got a problem with that potentially because y'all not gonna keep throwing around this idea of wife and child if y'all not gonna show it to us. But
that is true.
Says they on the way, so we gonna see.
They on the way.
That's what the Dama said. She said now that they're on their way. Yeah. I thought you might want to get prepared. That's when he looked up at her and said, "Oh, there." No,
but I just don't believe that they're on their way. But that's okay. We finna see.
I don't know if she would bluff something like that because again, this is Negan we're talking about.
You gotta remember she cut off
shit like that in front of him and then expect him to be like, "Oh, I was just kidding." Oh, were you? No.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So I think they probably see. I think they probably.
So then we'll get some of our questions answered from last season of how we felt about him leaving his family.
Yeah. But I mean, and then also, I mean, and we don't know, he could have tried to go after them because from what the Dama tells us, she says, when we were looking for you, we heard tale of a woman and child, which I'm like, it's a whole bunch of women and children. Like, how y'all
Yeah,
gonna
but
just
she
run
has a
with it?
strong personality,
Yeah,
so she's probably doing stuff that
yeah.
makes her known. That's the
But
problem.
what did she say? She said the train car that they were on was supposed to go to Missouri, but the road got washed out from flooding, so she ended up in Tennessee. I'm like, oh, she not too far from she not too far from Alexandria and the other folks, but it's possible
Well,
that
this is
he
my
tried to
next
go after them.
question. This is my next question because ultimately everyone knows how I feel about this show. Um, why did Maggie, once they came back and she got Herschel, why didn't they just go to the Commonwealth and go visit their other family members? I mean, maybe a stupid question. I may have missed something.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe they did, and I mean, like I said, we're talking about a year later. There could have been some stuff that happened in there.
And why you could have went to the Commonwealth?
I don't think she would do that because these
you ended
people
up
look
coming
at
to
Maggie as a leader, and I don't think she would abandon them. Like, yeah, she might go to visit, but you have to think about it. They're obviously struggling right now because the corn
They
crop is
are. She
dying.
could have took them with her,
I don't know if she
migrated.
would. I don't know if she would do that, especially because I don't
I
know.
know
I think for
she has
Maggie,
to
she
stay there.
probably just needed
Just
a fresh start because she didn't have a good experience in the Commonwealth either. So I think maybe the bricks is something new, is different. And yes, her people aren't there, but that might also be part of the appeal because sometimes you can love your family with everything you have, but sometimes you can't be around your family. Sometimes you just need to do things on your own.
well, she's gonna miss when Rick comes back, but that's okay.
Look, we will have that
Whatever.
conversation another time. Look,
All right. But
if that
again,
happens, that
but
ain't gonna be
again,
until season 3,
but
which
this is
they did get
again
renewed for. They did get renewed for season 3.
Dead City.
Yes.
Uh,
It's the high road. Do it again.
They did get renewed for season 3.
oh my gosh.
So maybe we'll have some good stuff to talk about right now. I just want to get all the complaining out the way because I don't want to complain throughout the
Oh
entire
yeah,
season.
and I'm not. This is just my least favorite.
Yeah. So far, it's like, and I'm not saying it's a bad episode, but people are making dumb decisions and people are doing stupid
Yeah.
things. So I'm just kind of like, what? How are you guys all alive at this point?
Right, my thought is, it seemed like, and this is just my perspective, you can't go from the main show where we have learned the tips and tricks and basically how to survive.
Mm-hmm. And
you've learned how to survive for 11 years, 12 years almost, or how much ever time they spend on that show. Mm-hmm. You've learned for 12 years to protect yourself, protect your family. When you in the woods, when you in a community, when you here, when you there, when you here, when you there. How do you then leave this grand community that has everything together to go someplace else and you forget everything you learned? Because how? Yeah. Because even after Maggie left the Commonwealth had now been revamped and is where it is. And that's when Maggie decides she want to leave and do whatever. That's fine. At that point, we understand why you didn't take help from the Commonwealth in the beginning, because Lance was feisty and we knew what that was. But now that he's gone and Pamela's in jail, Commonwealth is now run by your friends. Like Michelle said, why wouldn't you just go there? It's not like that bad blood. Take these people with you. Y'all don't have to store grain in a goddamn silo and scavenge and still do all of these things. When there's a community, because how many people is there? 10,000 people? Yeah. You have a community of 10,000 people.
So but you know what? It could also be one, she doesn't want to be around that many people, especially if all the groups that she's been with since she left the first time have been smaller groups. Maybe she doesn't want to be around all those people. But also, too, this goes back to what Rick said in season, 4 or 5? Maggie is a leader. Maggie is not a follower. And maybe she needed to be somewhere where she could lead and feel like that, because she's tried the following thing. It didn't always work out for her. And the last time she did that was with Rick and Michonne and her supposedly all being in charge, and then Rick and Michonne decided to let Negan live. So maybe she was like, you know what? Let me strike out on my own. I'm sure there's still some communication, but like I said, sometimes you just can't be around your family. And then if it also could be maybe she was trying to shield Herschel from certain things, because yes, it might be good for Herschel to grow up with familiarity, but it might also be a little bit of a burden. Like if everyone walks around, oh, you look just like your dad, oh, this is your dad, this, your dad, that. And it's kind of like he may not have an identity of his own because he's always going to be looked at as Glenn's son. So maybe she was trying to protect him from that too. I'm just saying, because
but that's some bullshit, because we already know that every time she fucking look at Herschel's ass, all she sees is fucking Glenn.
Yeah,
her, yes,
and her and the thing and the thing,
right? But so, that's her. But when you got several hundred other people who may be saying the same thing, which I know it's not that many because not that many knew Glenn, but if you got a group of 20 or 30 who look at you in a certain way and they're reminded of your dad in a certain way, but it's like they want to say it and keep his memory alive, but they also don't want you to feel that burn. Like I have a friend who passed away and he had sons that looked exactly like him, and they were forever being told, oh, you look just like your dad, you sound just like your dad, whatever. And one of the guys, one of the kids went and told his mom, he was like, I love my dad, but I feel like I'm an extension of him and not my own person. Like when people look at me, they don't see me, they see him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and as Anthony would say, maybe I'm giving the writers too much credit, but I can just say that could be part of her motivation. She could be like, okay, I need to kind of maybe distance my child from this. Then here it is, you bump into Negan, you have to go through all that, and now Negan is locked away in New York. And now you can kind of be like, okay, you know what? Everything about that old life is kind of put to the side. Maybe I can breathe and try to see who I am instead of being the widow, instead of being Herschel's daughter, Beth's sister, Glenn's wife. You get what I'm saying? That could be part of the reason why she's not with anybody right now.
And I want them to actually put that in it. Because if not, it just looks like you're making it so we can have this story.
Yeah.
For
like you left us for Frankie and we didn't hear from you for 6 years and we still don't know exactly what you did while you were gone.
Because for me, them showing up to the bricks, did y'all go to the Commonwealth? Because we know there are other communities.
They're not going to the Commonwealth. I can tell you that much.
I mean, Commonwealth I get that.
Is too far east. I mean, too far west for them. And like you said, the Commonwealth has 10,000 strong. The Commonwealth has tanks. Depending on where Dead City falls in the timeline, if Rick and Michonne have returned back, the Commonwealth also has the newly revamped CRM, bringing in supplies with their helicopters. New Babylon don't want none of that. They don't want none of that. And if they got spies telling them what's going on, like you got people telling you about what's going on in Manhattan, which I'm surprised none of your people told you, oh yeah, there is a Negan there. But anyway, if you got ways to find out about people and about things, I'm sure they've sent scouts out. I'm sure they've probably heard of the Commonwealth, but also the Commonwealth has allies somewhere, because that train wasn't going nowhere. We still don't know what that train was about. Hell, maybe the Commonwealth was in league with New Babylon, but I don't think it would be that way, because the Commonwealth, even though they did use a lot of like the old rules and the old ways, they weren't necessarily cruel in that manner the way that New Babylon is. All these people in New Babylon, except for Pearlie, I will give him that, all these people with the New Babylon law enforcement, they seem like they're getting a kick out of hanging people in front of, men, women, and children, and sending people off to go run a fool's errand to Manhattan because you want to steal somebody's methane. They seem like they are enjoying this cruel streak a little too much, especially those two chicks in charge. That's why I was like, them bitches got to die. And I know they felt some kind of way when Pearlie suggested Maggie, to be on the thing. And he was like, what was it that she asked him? She said, is this one woman really worth 20 million? He was like, yeah, I think she is. Like, oh, y'all obviously don't know. And so when they did that little test and Maggie did show, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm over here by myself, but I ain't forgot what I was taught. I was like, these two women right here, y'all can't hold a candle to Maggie because y'all doing your threatening with, vehicles and guns and trying to be all big and bad. Maggie got a stick and a pissed off attitude, and she done took out all these walkers in the corral and saved Jenny. And she looking at y'all like, what?
And what?
Because she thought she was gonna fight people, and the girl was like, "Oh no,
yeah,
I send you to Manhattan. You're not gonna be fighting people." She looked around. She looked at her like, "Is this it?" Like, bitch, I know
he said she worked 20 people. We know she worked 20 people.
Right. But I don't know. Like I said, these New Babylon people, they make my ass itch. And I'm really like, I'm gonna need somebody to die, or I'm gonna need them to like really get an ass whooping, because I'm not feeling these females at all. I'm not feeling Pearlie with his trying to, I don't know, he's trying to be the middleman. He's trying to please everyone. He's trying to make it sound like, yay.
He trying not to get his ass caught up.
Huh?
He trying not to get his ass caught up.
And I get that, but you look weak, my brother. You look weak. And then you got Dime Store Milton over here trying to school people about what New York used to be. You weren't even born, or you were probably a child when all this happened. Herschel's looking at him like, he's like, oh, so what you think is funny?
Dime Store
I
Milton.
think I know. I've read through the textbooks and blah, blah, blah. Herschel was like, I've been there.
Right. Dime Store Milton. I'm going to use that.
I was just like, when he started doing the writing and then he started New York, da 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 da, I was like, oh my God, it's Milton again. It's Milton. But Milton wasn't as irritating because Milton wasn't trying to show off that he was the egghead of the bunch. He was just like, okay, yeah, I know this, and okay, yeah, we can do this, and he had a little bit of humbleness about him. This dude, like I said, I'm not feeling none of these New Babylonian people. None. I don't like them. And then you coming in, like I said, you're trying to be, I don't know, you trying to be Law and Order in the worst way. And then you're trying to go claim an island that most of y'all ain't been on, at least not since the dead started rising. Right. And then you're gonna try to take the methane that the Croats sat here, figured out how to make the things, went to go scavenge the equipment and the materials to do. And I love that they showed us exactly how he's doing it at the beginning, because we saw a little bit of it in the last season, but this one was a little bit more detailed. I mean, that little bit of gas lit up all of Times Square. So I'm like, the New Babylonians, I get that they think they the shit, but now that the Dama has Negan back in charge and Negan is just warming up, I'm kind of ready for that fight to happen. And then of course they're gonna have Maggie. So at some point Maggie and Negan are gonna come across each other, which means Pearlie and Negan are gonna come across each other, which means the other two are gonna see Negan and be like, so you said you killed him. He looks very much alive walking around. I I don't like the New Babylonians.
Yeah.
I didn't like them last season, and we only saw a little bit of them. I don't like them in this first episode. I can tell these are going to be the people that I'm like, okay, can y'all just kill them and we be done with it? Just kill them.
So it's not gonna. It's no one we're going to really care about who lives or dies.
I care about Negan. I do care about Maggie, but I need Maggie to have a little attitude adjustment.
But they're not going anywhere. We know that part. So I'm saying everywhere else around them, it's almost like season 1.
I don't want to see Herschel die.
I don't think that's Maggie's reason. If Herschel dies, Maggie would lay in the field of walkers and get eaten. I don't see that. Like her whole purpose is making sure this little boy
right. So he's going to
yeah. So that's
survive.
He gonna survive.
Yeah, you're right. There's really nobody.
I think the kids are safe. Everybody who came in.
Not if Jenny keep doing the shit that she's doing.
Give her a good whooping. I think everybody who came in with that whole entourage gonna die.
I mean, they need.
We don't even remember y'all name.
They need to. I just. Yeah, they got on my nerves so bad this episode. I said, God, we're going to have to do this 5 more times with these people.
And then I Googled how to make methane from scratch.
I mean, I'm sure there's still libraries.
They literally could make their own methane.
There's libraries that can teach you how to do this, because I know y'all didn't. I mean, I'm sure y'all probably burned some of the books, but I mean, come on, for real?
Again, a good spy could go in there and get the information out.
Right.
And see what they doing.
That's it. Like, see how the operation is from collecting to machinery to output.
Yeah.
So, and that's much easier. Because if anything...
all your people there in New Babylon, however many people y'all have, because I don't think they've given us a number. You don't have one engineer in that whole group. You don't have one scientist. You don't have one biologist.
Which is understandable. You may not. You may, have the smart people in your group.
CRM had all the sciences.
Yeah, so smart people may not be in your group.
But even then, going back to World Beyond, all them scientists, you don't think somebody at some point figured out how to make methane because they had labs and all this brand equipment.
I mean, that was part of the CRM. So yes, I'm pretty sure they did.
And they did not have to take over someone else's area to do that.
Right.
Because hell, even Alexandria figured out solar panels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
they didn't have to take over, Michelle. They just decided when folks weren't doing what they're supposed to do, they just gonna wipe them all out.
Correct.
But they doing it to
I'm just saying now, like, you could maybe waste a couple of your people who, again, is a spy, get caught, but you can get that information and go find the location you want to have,
right,
and turn power on.
Right.
I wouldn't want to turn power on in New York City. I would like to find some land in Virginia, and we can all have our own homes and a neighborhood, a general store.
With the whole conscription thing. If people don't want to join your alliance, if people don't want to join New Babylon, if people don't want to be in your army, just go and fend for themselves.
Correct.
There's literally a whole world out there that's ripe for the taking.
Because people survived other places.
Right. And then some of them may not survive, and that's okay. They don't have to be a part of my group.
That part, because what did General Bill say? They would just go walk across the goddamn country and wipe out all these towns. So it's communities everywhere.
Right.
They may be few and far between, but they everywhere. Hell, Rick and Michonne found people at Yellowstone. So, like, come on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's literally people everywhere. So, what are y'all talking about? It's better to build with these people and be like, oh, if we do this together, we have a community. Remember what Jesus said? Your world about to get a whole lot bigger. Let the world get bigger. Y'all trying to wipe out people that you cannot wipe out, especially if there were 5 million people in New York City alone. You think everybody died? No.
Right.
There are survivors.
Right.
And you think they just gonna let you come over there and take what they got?
No. Especially since you're not dealing with just one group, you're dealing with several groups. So one group might kind of let you slide. The other group is going to be like, oh, we out for blood. Y'all don't know what y'all are dealing with over there.
That part.
But you're gonna try to take it?
You think it's okay? You go, okay. Come on. What did it say? You walk over, you're gonna limp back. Come on.
All I'm saying is this. When there are two groups of people in the episode and I'm looking at the Croat like, you know what? He don't really seem all that bad. There's a problem.
That is true. That is
because
true.
The Croat is not trying to go outside of Manhattan to bother nobody. He's like, oh no, we can do everything we need to do right here. Have all the dead walkers I need. If anybody comes over here, I mean, hey, we might kill them, but I mean, circle of life.
Illogical.
Yeah.
He's logical.
We just had to outsource some leadership skills. We needed someone to, give us a professional development on leadership skills.
Right.
But outside of that, he ain't lying.
That's true. He's not. They needed some organization, so he found someone he felt would help with that organization. So
I mean, he's doing what in his mind makes sense to him. Because remember, even when the Croat killed old girl, he didn't think he did anything wrong. So in his mind, what are you talking about?
Because he's adjusting for what this new world should be. And that was something he said in this episode that I really started to think about, because he was like, the old world was broken. It's dead. We can create a new world. And honestly, that doesn't sound like a bad idea, especially if y'all are trying to bring the old world back by doing the same shit.
But they have to make a new world. The world has literally changed.
But that's the problem with New Babylonians.
Because even if you tried to make the old world again, there are still adjustments and things that you could never do back in the old world because of what you have going on right now.
Right.
So it will never go back. You may pull pieces here and there, but it'll never go back to the way that it was.
No. And the problem is they keep trying to put it back the way it was. Excuse me, how do you think y'all got here?
Thank you.
Like I said, New Babylon, when I'm sitting here rooting for the Croat, there's a problem with your group. I mean,
look, because we rooting for the bad guys.
But then when you sit here and you look at that, okay, yes, I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
But are they the bad guy? That's the thing.
Yeah, the Croat and his group, they have some questionable methods. Yes. But in the grand scheme of things, if you compare what we've seen them do, let me clarify that. What we have seen them do compared to what we've seen Alpha do, compared to what we've seen, the Commonwealth, which Commonwealth wasn't really that bad. Lance was just an ass. What we've seen the governor do, it's like, comparatively speaking, they really aren't that bad. They just want to keep to themselves. They want to make as much methane as they want so that they can power the city, so they can get high, so they can have their walker things. They don't, if I remember correctly from last season, they don't really punish anyone unless they commit like a crime. But even then, it's not like what they did to this guy. You know, except for that one guy that the Croat stabbed because he had a maggot in his food. You know what? I might stab somebody in the stomach too if I take a bite of my burger and there's a maggot there. But other than that, it's I just
if you leave
don't
me
know.
alone, I'll leave you alone, and we won't have no problem.
Right.
But you don't want to leave me alone.
No, you don't.
Bother me.
Yeah. But they about to fuck around and find out because Negan, I won't say the old Negan is completely back, but one thing about Negan that I think we can all agree on, Negan is a showman. He is a chameleon. He is going to do what he needs to do to survive. Now, has he taken that too far in the past? Yes, but we see with the last couple of seasons of The Walking Dead, with the first season of Dead City, with this season, this is not the person he wants to be. Negan spent 6 years locked up in Alexandria to the point where he wanted to die. And here, he's treating it like it's every other day. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, you want this bucket of piss and shit? I'll eat your cockroach. Really? But this is where he
because
is.
He did it already.
Cool with it.
Yeah,
he did it already.
Right. He's like, okay, you know what? I can do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to become that person again. And y'all don't want him to become that person again. Let's be honest.
True. Because if you look at it this way, so he's in a crappy jail with crappy food, and he's like, I'd rather be here. In Alexandria, he had a good cell. He had food that would make sure he was fed. But you never get.
He had his little buddies sitting there doing homework with him.
Right, he did.
And keep in mind, you're in a better situation there, but you'd rather die than be you in this crappy situation that you're in right now. You're like, nah, I got it.
Right.
Baby. Come on now.
So I don't know.
The only thing they can do is threaten his wife and child. That's all they can do.
And that's where they made the mistake.
Right.
That's where they made the mistake, because Negan was sitting there, they're sitting there like courting him with the bottle of gin and everything. And he's just sitting there like, look, we done had this conversation already. This is why y'all have me locked up, because I already told y'all I don't want to do that.
I ain't doing
the minute she mentioned wife and child, he kind of looked, but when she called their names, his whole face changed. I said, oh, y'all done let him out now. All right.
What you not gonna do
is threaten that wife and child. So I think we're probably really about to see how Negan feels about Annie and Joshua, because like we said, we didn't get that build up in the Walking Dead. We just all of a sudden, oh, you married, and all of a sudden she's pregnant. We didn't get any of that build up, and then when you bring us into this story, oh, he's already sent them off because he's put himself in danger and he doesn't want to endanger them. Again, from the New Babylonian people, because one of the New Babylonian sheriffs was part of the group that attacked and raped her. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, New Babylonians, I'm waiting. Let them walk up in there with Negan and see what they're gonna get.
He gonna tear both groups apart. So
wait till he see Pearly again. He's gonna be like, the fallout from that I want to see.
Yeah,
I feel like both groups need to be concerned.
Absolutely, because the New Babylonians, you coming to take something that don't belong to you. Okay, Negan has been on both sides of that playbook, so he knows what to do in all situations. But the Dama, you threaten this man's wife and child, and you've talked to people who know him. You got the information from Herschel about, who he was and what he did. That was one of the reasons why you wanted him, was because of the stuff that Herschel told you. But obviously Herschel doesn't know the firsthand accounts, so he's only giving you a muted version of what this man is capable of. And you still want to go after his wife and child? Oh, when I say Team Negan at this point, give it to him, give him hell. I want to see it. Because they all gonna deserve it. Leave folks alone. Let folks live their lives. Mind your business. Y'all got all this space, all this country. Literally, all y'all's groups can probably go stay in a separate state and not have to bother nobody. Some of these states take 9 hours to get from one end to the other. Y'all got some space.
Yeah,
you do.
Y'all got some space. And if you can't make the methane, learn how to play with some stuff. Figure it out. Or, go to them and be like, hey, okay, look, y'all over there on the island, that's cool. We just want to know how y'all do what y'all do. And then we're going to take what y'all teach us. We're going to go way the hell over here. And y'all don't ever have to see us again. It could work.
At all.
It could work. But no, humans got to be stupid. They got to be in control. They got to, take over folks' stuff. They have to colonize, because let's be honest, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. So yeah, I'm not feeling the New Babylonians. I'm gonna keep saying it. That's gonna be my catchphrase. No New Babylonians. No, we don't want them. So anyway, I think we've gotten all the complaining. Was there anything that we forgot? Because I was like, I just want to get all this out so people know from the jump.
Yeah, I'm looking
where we stand. So we don't like the New Babylonians. We are in agreement of that.
Yeah.
Correct.
We are in agreement that we don't really care for the Dama and her people and what she's trying to do, because you're trying to unite people under an alliance, but you want somebody else to be the face for you to do it.
Right. And that, yeah. Now, I did love Negan's whole thing in the church. I did.
It was corny at the beginning.
It was, because it was one of those things where I have to do this, so I'm trying to do it, but I just don't really care.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of dialing this in until someone wanted to question, like, we ain't gonna follow you. We not joining no group. Oh, okay. Let me test the waters here.
Right.
Put this batted by your head. You better move it. I don't have to move it.
The button that electrocute, I was like, oh Lord, why did y'all give that to him? Because he's gonna be out of control now. Zap, 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 right. Zap. So I will say this: the Croat and the Dama, I think both of them need to watch their backs, because they think they have Negan on a leash, and they have no idea what they just let loose.
I don't think the Croat thinks that. He was quite excited. Like, I think he was really excited when Negan did that. But I think he knows deep down, like, this can go either way. I've seen what this man actually will do.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna take a risk here. He's like, he's like, I can serve under either person. Which is sad.
Yeah, but he ain't wrapped too tight, so
no, he's not.
It's understandable. Okay, do we have anything else to say about this episode? I can't wait to get to the other episodes. And yes, we have actually we've only watched the first episode because, as I stated on our social media, like, Casey was out of town, or out of the country really, to celebrate her 50th. And then she came back, and then I left to go celebrate my 50th. And while I was gone, Michelle and Anthony celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary. So they were out of the country. So we all just been traipsing around the place. So we all were like, okay, look, we're just going to go ahead and just watch the first episode, talk about it, and then we'll pick it up. So I have no idea what's going to happen in this season.
No idea.
I have seen 2 potential spoilers. One of them, I probably feel like, okay, yes, that was definitely a spoiler. This definitely happened. The other one, I'm not quite so sure. So,
this is what I have. Charlie Bird. She can go real quick. She's gonna be what would be nice if she is bitten by walkers.
Walker food.
That would be lovely. And then she's thrown into the pit. Right. That's what I was about to say. Thrown into the pit. That would be great. What did you say his name was? Bruegel?
Bruegel.
Bruegel. I
Yeah.
just like him because he's from Sons of Anarchy, so we'll just see what happens. I just love his facial expressions.
Yeah, he was sitting there looking at Negan like.
And then when they were doing stuff, his guy was about to get up. He's like, "No, just sit down.
Right? Like,
Let's see how this plays. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see how this plays out." Maggie. Yeah.
I mean, like I said,
well, what would I don't know.
I don't.
Okay, so Maggie and Negan gonna get back together again, but maybe we really will see Annie. I'm not thinking we will. I'm just making some theories. Maybe they do come in and Maggie helps save them.
No,
if you're gonna mention her,
she's showing up.
So I feel like she's coming in New York.
Episode, but
right, and Maggie and Negan gonna work together to save his family.
Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, Maggie can finally get some closure and just let that go.
But this is just I'm gonna say this early. There has to be something in that final episode that will either, because to keep going on the same
cycle,
stupid. Mm-hmm. So there has to be something in this third episode that's gonna either tie him to Daryl, back to the Commonwealth, or something from Fear.
Third episode? You mean third season?
I mean third season. Third season. So there has to be something to wrap. You understand what I'm saying? Because what else?
Right. Because I mean, it's the same with
Daryl and Carol are still in play.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you got to
like even with Daryl and Carol. Okay, y'all can't keep just traipsing across Europe. You got children you need to go home and tend to. Since you keep telling everybody those your children, Uncle Daryl, you need to take your ass home.
Yeah, because you left their ass.
But they had, I believe that show has been renewed for a 4th season. So I don't know. But okay. Any final thoughts on Dead City season 2, episode 1?
Yes, I'm gonna struggle, but I'm gonna make it. Because a lot of things that we have issues with is that writing. I just feel like we're just making this because we like these two characters and we like their conflict. But take the time and really write it.
Yeah.
But you're right. Some of the decisions people are making, it's not making any sense.
No. And even the whole thing with Maggie and Negan, for me, doesn't make sense because you handled it so beautifully at the end of the show with them having to work together, with Negan having to, with Negan trying to take all the burden off of Maggie, with Negan actually apologizing to her for what he did. Like, you did such a beautiful job with that. And then, like we said, for season 1 of Dead City to go right back into that, to the point where you have now damaged your relationship with your child because you can't let that go.
Right.
You took too big a step backwards. So now I need y'all to kind of bring it back and then move it forward. So if we're going to get this whole thing with Maggie and Negan, if we're going to get a couple more seasons, I need them to be at a point where they are at peace with their past and with each other. I'm not saying y'all got to be the best of friends, but y'all do work well together. When y'all take all of the other stuff out, you make a great team. You get shit done for your people. That's what I want to see more of.
And that's what that will be great. Like them working as a team to get through something.
Right.
Understanding where through that process that she is healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he understands. You already got him understanding how that feels when him and Annie was on their knees. So he gets it. He gets the other side. Hopefully she gets what he was saying, because again, y'all, this all started when they killed that outpost.
We're not gonna start that conversation. Look, if you want to hear us talk more about this, We will be having 2 panels discussing separately Maggie and Negan at ATL Comic Convention, which is taking place July 18th through the 20th at the Georgia World Congress Center. We will have a total of 4 panels related to The Walking Dead that weekend. So if you go to our website and all our social media, you will find our blog post that details that entire schedule for that weekend. So come listen to us talk and let us know how you feel about the whole Maggie and Negan dynamic. But for now, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.